Okay, still the strength is not that much. Okay, we will wait for 1 or 2 more minutes, then we will start. Okay. Yeah, very good morning, Anil. Yeah. Okay. Let us start our session. Meanwhile, I'll present my screen. Okay. Can you please tell me what topic we have discussed in the last class? Good morning, Dharan Tej. Yes. Can you please tell me what topic we have discussed? If you can able to recollect what we have discussed. Retro. Final retro we have seen. Still throws keyword we have discussed. Okay. Right. Let me record this meeting. Right. Okay. Ah, so, final retro we have seen, and also throws keyword we have discussed, and what else? Try with resources. Exactly. Very good, Abhinav. Try with resources. And one question I just want to ask you. From Java version 1.7, what are all the concepts they were introduced? I just told you three, no? What are they? Multiple, not multiple. Multi-catch. Multiple is different. Multi-catch is different. Okay? Multi-catch, final rethrow, try with resources. Very good, Shravya. Excellent. Correct. So that's what we have discussed. And today, mostly we will wind up this session. That is why exception handling we will finish today. Okay? Most probably. Tomorrow, hope you remember, plan to have a exam, right? Yes or no? We will see. Yes, exam only. Exam means, I mean, unit test. In whichever the manner I want to conduct, I'll conduct tomorrow afternoon. So please do prepare well your fourth unit, that is programs. Yeah, we will go with the programs, but I don't want to tell you what programs right now. So, but based on collections only. But based on collections only, so you have to check out for the collections, which are all the collect hash maps, hash sets, arrays, set, list. Okay, array list, linked list. Okay, tree set. These type of programs you need to practice, and please be ready. The two questions, maybe probably I'll give two questions tomorrow. So everybody, you will be given a time. Okay, you will be given a time. Within that time, I'll start and I'll stop within the time you have to do. Okay, okay. So that please do prepare well and come. Right? Ah, right. Okay then. So shall we start today's session? Actually, this final rethrow. Okay, I just want to show you. Actually, here what type of exception we are raising? That is interrupted exception. Okay, we are getting interrupted exception here. So this interrupted exception is thrown to this cache, and through superclass exception type, that is superclass is catching a subclass type of exception. But inside what is having? Inside E is having what? Let me adjust this. But within inside E, exception E, what exception we have actually? What exception we have? Here now, guys, can you able to look at the program? Superclass object. I am just asking the question that exception E inside it contains what actually? Here what exception I am throwing here? Here I am passing method 1 of 1. So that is so method 1, okay, it is taking parameter as 1. Is 1 equal to 0? No. So that it comes to else part. So this interrupted exception is thrown to this catch. So within E object, what actually the exception is, I am asking. That is interrupted exception. Yes or no? So as the returned exception, again it is throwing back to its caller. Who is its caller? The main. So here it returns that E, which is inside, it is interrupted exception. So it matches with the this catch. Okay. So that is what final rethrow. Throwing again to the specific catch. Okay. That's what we have seen in the last class. Okay. Today what we are going to discuss is, listen very carefully, that it is exception propagation. What exactly exception propagation is? Just now we have discussed. Yes or no? What we have discussed? If the method did not handle its exception, the exception is propagated to its caller. Yes or no? Propagated means it just passes. It just pass over. It just passes to its exception to its caller. In the same way, suppose if the exception is did not handled in the method, okay, the innermost method, then how the exception is going to be propagated? Okay, guys, are you everyone are listening? Today very less strength. Why? It is not even weekend, no? Only 37 students. Jahnavi, are you there? Jahnavi, are you there? If you are there, can you please respond once? Can you please read the comment line? Jahnavi is not here, I think. Who is the second CR? May I know? Who is Akash, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
Akash, can you please text once again in the group?
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Ask everyone to join right now.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, Akash. See, read the comment line first. Exception propagation runtime exception. Here, exception propagation is how it is happening in the runtime exceptions, and exception propagation will happen how it is going to happen in the compile time exceptions we are going to see. So it is somewhat a little different. Actually, the concept is same, but how we are doing, look at this. Okay, see what is the program is. This is an exception class, exception propagation class. Here I'll just keep this main. I'll just cut here and I'll just keep on top of every method so that it would be easy for you. Okay, right? See, there is a main method. From main method we have to start our execution. No, within the main method I'm just calling a method 1, m1. Okay, and in this main method itself I'm just printing hello world. Okay, then m1, okay, m1 is called, so that within the m1 m2 is called. And also I have one more statement, method 1. Okay, m2, within m2 I just called m3. Okay, within m3 again m3 called, and within m3 I just have these statements. And do you think, do I get any exception over here? Yes or no? Will I get any exception? Yes, obviously I'll be getting an exception, that is arithmetic exception divided by 0. That is yes or no. So in this case, what output you are expecting? What output you are expecting? Will this be printed or will this be printed, or what you are expecting? Any statements out of four println statements, which will any single statement is going to be executed or no? Nothing will be printed, nothing will be executed. Yes, right, Rohit. Yes. So because what happens, this is a pending exception, I did not deal that. Yes or no? I did not handle that exception, so abruptly the execution will stop. So if I execute also, just a second guys, I'll just make this slide there. Okay, then it is fine. Nothing will be printed. Yes. So what happened? Actually what happened? That is arithmetic exception you got, and in which line it is got? Actually, it is line number 22. Okay, line number 22. And listen how the exception is propagated. See, from line number 22 to again it propagated to line number 16. That is from here to here it got propagated. Okay, at least this method has to deal with that, but it is not handled its exception. Again it propagated to here, that is line number 11. Again it got propagated to M1. Okay, which is the line number 6. Okay, so anywhere, so it is propagating, the pending exception is propagating through its to its caller, but no method did not handle that. So what happens? Abruptly it stops its execution. Okay, hope you understand this, and let us discuss this next one. So here in this exception propagation, the same thing, everything is same, and except in method 3, what we have done, method 3, what we have done, we just handle the exception. Exactly, that's what you need to say. We just handle the exception in terms of try and catch. Exception handled. Very good. So how we have so now please do observe and let me know what are all the statements are going to be executed. Okay, this is just like a game. So you need to guess what would be your output. Okay, so can you please tell me, here I'll be getting the exception, right? Yes. So is this going to be executed? Is this going to be executed? Yeah. Method 3 with an exception is going to be executed? No. Yes or no? Because the control from here itself, it comes out of the try. Okay. And will it come to this catch? Is it a matching catch? Is it a matching catch? Yes, obviously it is a matching catch. So will this be executed? The message? What would be the message? Get message? It would be executed. Yes or no? What is it? Divide by 0. Yes, exactly. Slash by 0. And will this printed? Is this statement, method 3 statement, is going to be printed or not? Will this method 3 statement is going to be printed or not? Yes, no, because we already handled the exception, and then so second, let me change my network. Okay. Can you check right now? How's the voice? Is it okay right now? Yes. Fine. Shall I continue? Shall I continue? Yeah. Fine. Okay. See. How is this method? I am asking the question that this method 3, this statement is going to be executed. Yes, right. This is going to be executed. Fine. Then here in method 3, do I have any pending exception? Do I have any? Did I have any pending exception? No. So that it returns without any pending exception. Okay, returns here. Okay. Now tell me, is this statement is going to be executed? Yes. And this statement? Yes. And this? Hello world? Yes. Okay. So we will just look at the output, and then we will confirm our expectation. Okay. Yeah. What happened actually? This slash by 0 got printed, and then method 3 got printed, and then again it comes back to method 2, so that method 2 got printed, and then it comes to again it comes to method 1. So method 1 got printed, and which is, and the hello world statement which is there in main got executed. Yes or no? So this is how the exception propagation will behave. Actually, if there is any pending exception, the control will never it will not it will, if the pending exception, how exactly it would be, we have seen in the previous program. If the exception is handled, how it is going to behave, we just have observed in this program. Yes or no? Right? Did you understand this program, everybody? Everyone? Yes? Yeah. See this? Look at this. Here, actually, what we are doing is, okay, see this. The same thing here also, we have main method. Within main method I'm calling m1, and within m1 I'm calling m2. Within m2 we are calling m3. Within m3 we got an exception. Did you observe that? Yes or no? Right? Now can you please tell me what are all the statements now they are going to be executed? Will these two statements will be executed? Yes? No. Fine. Then it comes back to method 2. Method 2 statement is going to be executed or not? No. Very good. Next. Just a second, guys. You just observe. I'll see. See. Yeah, fine. Stack unwinding. Okay. Fine. Good. And then so this method 1 is going to be printed? No. Okay. Again it comes back to method 1. And what happened in method 1 actually? What happened in main? In method 1 also we did not handle it. But what happened in what we have done in main method? We just handled it. Yes or no? So can you please tell me what are all the statements are going to be executed? Can you please type? Can you please quickly type in the chat box? Catch. Okay. the method, the message which is there in the catch, and hello world. That's it. Okay, right? Because what happens in all these methods, there is a pending exception. Here there is a pending exception. Again in M2 also pending exception. In M1 also pending exception. Now here in this main method, that exception, whichever the exception we got from the we got as a pending exception, that was handled here in the main method. Okay, that is what the exception. How a pending exception is propagated up to its stack. That is what stack unwinding, that's Anil saying. Okay, how it is propagated up to its stack. So understood, no, everyone? Okay. We will execute this. Yeah, as you expected, only two statements got executed. That's it. And now what we are going to do, look at this, is checked exception. Previously, so far we have discussed about runtime exceptions, how exception propagation will happen in runtime exceptions. But now we are dealing with the checked exception. How it is going to be happen in checked exception, we will see that. Okay. So this everything is same. Everything method one within main M1 is called, within M1 M2 is called, M3 within M2 M3 is called, within M3. In M3 we got an we did not get any exception related to runtime exception. Okay, 10/2 there is no exception, runtime exception. But what actually we have is, there is a statement sleep method. Actually we will discuss this later, that is while discussing threads, multi-threading concept. Okay, but right now what you have to understand is, I'm just keeping a thread for 1 second time to be suspended. Okay, I'm just making my thread to be suspended for 1 second, 100,000 milliseconds. Here 1000 milliseconds means 1 second. So I'm just suspending this thread. Okay, in these situations, what happens is, if the sleep method did not executed well, if the sleep method related to sleep method, as it is the checked exception, what we are doing is, there is an exception E. So is this going to be called? Is this going to be whatever the exception we are getting? That is interrupted exception, generally we will get by using sleep. Okay, is that going to be cached through this catch all catch type exception? Yes, obviously. So is this going to be printed? Yes, right, very good. And this one, method 3 with an exception? Yes, right. And this method 2, method 1 and hello world will be printed, because the exception, the checked exception is handled here itself in M3. Okay, right? Okay, let me execute this just a second. That's what. Okay, see, that means here this message is got not did not printed, means what happens, this exception did not raised. There is we did not there is no chance of getting an exception, because we did not get any exception over here, so that this catch got not printed. Yes or no? Yes or no? But as it is a checked exception, we have to handle it, whether there is a chance of raising your exception or not. Irrespective of that, you have to handle it. Okay, understood? At least if you are not handling your checked exception, at least you have to do one more thing. What you have to do? I'll show you in this program. Okay. Did you understand this thing, this output, everyone? Okay. So suppose if I am not handling in this way, I'll show you. Don't worry. Suppose if I am not handling like this. Let me modify that program only. Okay. Let me modify that only. I'll do like this. Where is that? Otherwise, I'll modify this. No problem. Anything is okay for me. Okay. See. Suppose here also this is same thing. Okay. What extra thing we have? If I execute, will I get the same? In this situation? What is this statement is going to be printed in this case? Think that I did not get any exception, because even when I use sleep method also, I may get exception, checked exception, I may not. So think that there is no exception raised, luckily. Okay, then this statement get executed. Yes or no? Yes. If no exception, then very good. And will it be printed then? No. Yes or no? Because if we don't get the exception, we will never come to the catch block, right? And this statement, method 3. Yes. And again, here there is no pending exception right now. So will it be executed? Yes. Method 1 and hello world. Yes. Okay. Yeah. What we have accepted, that was happened. Now I'll change a little. What I'm going to change is just a second. I'm changing a little. I don't want this catch also, and only these statements I want. Now can you please tell me now what actually we have to do? So can you please tell me what is the situation right now? Suppose I just used the checked exception but I did not handle that. Okay. So if I am not handling this checked exception, there are two things I already told you. If I am not interested to handle this, at least what my method has to do? Throws. Yes or no? That is throws interrupted exception. Actually, what type of exception the sleep method is going to raise? Interrupted exception. Okay. Let me let me execute this first without using this, so that what error you will be getting, we will see that. Okay, what error you are able to get, we will see that. Okay. We need to report. Very good. We need to report this. We need to report our exception. If you are not interested to handle this, so what type of error you will be getting is unreported. Here I just commented this. Did you observe that? Here I just commented this. Why I am getting this? Okay. Understood now? I just commented. So that I did not handle, I did not even reported the exception. So how it is going to be, we will see that. What happened? Unreported exception error we got. Unreported exception. That means, read this entire statement once. Read this entire statement. Unreported exception, interrupted exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. At least you have to caught through your catch block, that is try catch, or else you need to declare that exception to be thrown. Okay, where to declare? At the method signature, along with the method signature. Understood? Okay. Let me uncomment this once again. Control S. Okay. Control V. Now can you please tell me what is the output? What would be the output? What would be the output? What would be the output? You just guess. What happened? Did I save this? I just saved this, no? At which line number? Okay. Error got line number 16. Actually, exactly where it is got it, where we got this is, look at this. Look at this. I'll keep one, I'll do one more thing. One more thing I'll do. See, whatever the exception I throwed here, that would be deal within M2. Actually, here it has to deal. Okay. Okay. Now I'll keep this throws once again. Show you. Don't worry. Wait. Now what it is, what remember, listen carefully. As it is the checked exception, I need to handle this, or at least I need to throw. Throw to whom? Guys, are you able to listen? Maybe the connection got lost. Are you able to listen? Is my voice audible? Right? Yes? See, look at this. Understand very clearly that, see, which one? This one, no? You just understand very clearly that here in M3, I may get an exception. I may get an checked exception, but I did not handle that. But what I have done, I just provided the declaration. That is, I just reported the exception. That reported exception, that what I have thrown to its caller, okay? Who is its caller? M2. M2 has to handle that exception, or at least it has to throw that exception. Understood? M2 has to handle it, or else it has to throw that exception. Then again, what happened? Again, pending exception got propagated back to here within M1. So M1 has to handle that exception, which I propagated that checked exception from here to here. Okay, but understood now? At least it has to handle that, or at least it has to report the exception. So where I am getting the exception? Look at this. Where I am getting the exception? M2. That is, here I have used M2. Here I have used M2 within M1, but I did not handle that. So exception we are getting here. So what I have to do? Again, I need to say this. Again, I need to, because I don't want to handle even in M1. Understood? No? Guys, are you able to understand? Are you able to understand this, what I'm saying? So now where it is going to be again? Where it is going to be raised again? Main. Very good. Super. We will see that. We will see that. Again M1. Again here it is in M1 it is I am getting exception, because from here I am returning the pending exception. So here I'm still having that exception, checked exception, pending exception. So I need to handle at least in the main, but I don't want to handle that. So what I have to do, at least I have to throw this. At least I have to throw this. So have a look at this right now. So now it got compiled. Understood? Now it got compiled, because as it is the compile time exception, every time I'm just catching by this even at compile time. Did you observe that? Yes. Every time I'm caught by the compiler, because of I'm dealing with the compile time exception. Understood? Okay. Right. What happened now? Now there is no pending exception. Now there is no pending exception. So that from method 3 to method 3 to method 2, method 1, hello world got printed exactly. Understood now? Everybody. Did everyone understand this program? Everyone? Yes? Okay. Can you able to distinguish the difference between how we have dealt with the exception propagation in our in runtime exception, and how exactly in the compile time exception? Did you understand? Yes? Okay. Right. Everyone. Right. Okay. So with this, we just understood the compile exception propagation in both the runtime exceptions and also the compile time exceptions. Okay. Now the last one we have here is that is user defined exceptions. User defined exceptions. See. Previously, so far we have seen many programs, many demo programs, many explanation related programs, but we have seen many predefined exceptions. Suppose whether it may be arithmetic exception, whether it may be array index out of bound exception, interrupted exception, and also null pointer exception, and number format exception. Okay, and still anything? Okay. So we have seen all these are predefined exceptions, but somehow there would be a need, there would be a requirement that sometimes, suppose I'll tell you one scenario. Suppose there is, everybody is going to have some bank account, right? So suppose if I have any insufficient amount in my bank account, in my any bank account. Suppose if I'm having any insufficient funds, if I'm trying to, suppose if I'm having a amount of suppose 2,000 rupees, but I'm trying to withdraw suppose 4,000 or 5,000, then what actually happens? What actually the thing is, I am having an insufficient funds in my bank account. Yes or no? So for this reason, see, the situations exactly in this, what type of exceptions I can raise? Whether this arithmetic exceptions, this type of array index out of will that type of exceptions will be suited in this context? No. Yes or no? So to deal with the real time problems like this, what we are going to do is we will go with the user defined exceptions. How we have to do that, we will see right now. Okay, understood, everyone? Right? Listen carefully. Listen carefully. So. I'll come to the main part. I'll come to the main part. After that, I'll tell you what exactly is this. Okay. Hmm. There is a class called bank account. There is a class called bank account. In that bank account class, I'm having a balance amount, and also the account number. Two things I'm having. Okay. Okay. Everybody, can you imagine there is a class, bank account class, and you have a balance as one of the attribute. One more is your account number. Okay. Now, what is this? What is this? Constructor. What type of constructor? What type of constructor it is? Parameterized constructor. Okay. Parameterized constructor. Okay, fine. So that whenever I create any object for the bank account, that account number will be assigned, that the balance will be initialized. Okay. Now, what is this? What is this? This one. Method. It's a method. Withdraw method. Okay. When I'm trying to withdraw, this method is going to be invoked. Okay. I'm passing some amount to this. If the amount which I'm withdrawing, with the amount which I'm trying to withdraw, if it is less than balance, okay, if it is less than the balance, then it is fine. Suppose I'm having 5,000. If I'm withdrawing 2,000, what is the problem with that? There is no problem. So what is going to happen? Balance equal to balance minus amount, so that I'm reducting my balance. I'm again reinitializing the balance with the deducted amount, and I'm just printing what is the amount I'm withdrawing. Okay, understood now? Okay. Otherwise, I'll come back to here. Bank account BA equal to new bank account of 101, 5,000. 101 is here. 101 is only one bank account object is here right now I'm having. Okay, 101 is, what is this? Account number. Very good. It is account number. And 5,000 is balance. Okay, it's a balance. It's our balance, right? Now I'm withdrawing 4,000. I'm withdrawing 4,000. Okay, withdraw 4,000. So this method is going to be called. So amount. What is the amount? 4,000 is less than the balance. That is 5,000. Of course, it is good. Okay, fine. There is no issue. Then balance equal to balance minus amount. That is balance is 1,000 right now. Yes or no? What is right now? It is 1,000. Okay. Now that amount, how much amount I'm withdrawing, that is going to be printed. So next time if I call withdraw of 2,000, what is going to happen? What is going to happen? Again, it calls this method. Whatever the amount, that is 2,000 is less than the balance. The remaining balance is 1,000, no? So, will I execute this? Less than 1,000. Yes or no? So what happens? I'll come to the else part. I'll come to the else part. So in the else part, what I'm doing is I'm throwing my user defined exception. That is, what is that exception? Throw new insufficient funds. Insuf funds is my exception type. Okay. When I say new, what happened? A new exception is created. If you can print insufficient funds directly, then why this exception and all? See, sometimes in all the situations in the real time, you cannot expect always. Okay, you cannot expect always. Okay, actually, why this everything exception handling? Why this exception handling and all? What is the advantage? Okay, not to interrupt, not to stop in the middle, and giving user friendly messages. Okay, giving user friendly messages, and also not to disturb the flow of your execution. Okay, so this exception, user defined type of exceptions will be used. Previously, so far we have discussed many things. Okay, we have discussed many things. Then what is the use of that? Yes or no? We have discussed the advantages of exceptions. In the same way, in user-defined exceptions also, in the case in the real time also, you cannot expect always where exactly the situation you will be getting. Okay, I am dealing in a professional way. I am dealing this situation in a professional way that I'll be raising an exception. Instead of getting a message, instead of giving a message, I am dealing with this thing in terms of exceptions. Of course, you can print insufficient funds directly. Okay, of course, it is doing the same. Okay, so instead of doing that, I can even deal with the exceptions. Okay, understood? Okay, right. So I'm throwing a new insufficient funds exception. Okay, and what message I am passing? Insufficient funds exception I am passing. That message I am passing. So exactly, if you look at this very carefully. Look at this very carefully. Class insuf funds extends. Class insuf funds extends what I am extending. What class I am extending? Is it exception or runtime exception? Runtime exception. What does it mean? Then what type of exception this insuf funds is? What type of exception is insuf funds is? Here I am using a user defined exception. I am just extending from the runtime exception. I am asking you a question that what type of exception now it is? Unchecked or runtime exception? Base class has runtime exception, so that this exception will become the runtime exception. It is not compile time exception. Yes or no? Understood? Understood? Insuf funds right now is the runtime exception. Okay. Now what I am doing is I'm just taking the constructor. I'm just taking the constructor, and whichever the message I just passed, whichever the message I am passing along with the exception, that would be passed to the constructor of constructor, superclass constructor. Look at this. Is this notation is did you know this notation? Did you know this notation? Yes. What does it mean? Whatever the message I am passing here, with that message I am calling the superclass constructor. That is, with this message I am calling the superclass constructor within the runtime exception. What is the superclass of this insuf funds? Okay, understood now? Right? So then listen carefully. I'll just comment this part. Okay. See, so as we got an exception of insufficient funds, what is going to happen? this message is going to be printed. Let me execute this once. What happened actually? We got an exception, no? We got an exception, no? What exception we got? Actually, the amount withdraw, first amount withdraw is 4,000 got printed. Next time, as we are trying to withdraw 2,000, in main method we got an exception, that insufficient funds exception. Okay, and the message, this is the class type, the type of the exception, that is the class name. Okay, and this is the message, what message we are passing. Okay, understood? What message actually we are passing along with the exception, and that exception is raised in the withdraw, and also the withdraw is called in the main. That's what we are getting. So this is the stack trace, print stack trace. Understood now? Understood? Yes or no, everybody? Yes. Listen. Now what I'm doing is, I'll just uncomment this. Then can you please tell me what type of message I'll be getting? What type of message I'll be getting? Whether the message insufficient funds I'll be getting, or account has insufficient funds. Which one? Here this one, account has insufficient funds, is going to be displayed, because actually this insufficient funds is the message which I am passing along with the creation of the object, exception object. But here what I am doing is, I already told you, I can even override the get message method. Yes, overridden. Okay, as we are overriding the get message method, which is there in which class? Which is available in which class? The get message method available in which class? What is the super class of all the exceptions? Get message method A class lo undam actual ga. Not exception. Exception kana super class emundi? What is the super class of exception? Throwable. Already told you, no, in the previous class I have already told you, get message is the method which is available in the throwable class. As it is the supermost class of all these things, I can even override that method in whichever the way I want. Okay, so that's what I am doing here. I am just overriding the message in terms of in a more friendly, user-friendly manner. Okay, account has insufficient funds. Okay, so let me execute this quickly. So what message I got right now? The overridden method got executed. Previously, whatever the message I am passed to the newly created exception object, that was printed. But now after the overridden, this overridden message got displayed. Yes or no? Understood? Everyone? Right? Okay, fine. So we just discussed this one, and also look at this. Previously we have an exception, just an exception. We couldn't able to print this transaction completed. Did you observe that? Transaction completed. Did we get that? Did we get that message? Previously? No. Because it is unhandled exception. Yes or no? It's a unhandled exception. I did not handle previously. But what we have done right now, we just handled in terms of catch, try catch. Okay. How we are dealing is nothing. Only what we have done is we just kept the statements which are all prone to exception, that when in the try block, and the catch block. If you clearly observe how I am catching this, what type of exception, and the type and the object, exception type, whatever the exception I'm throwing from the try block, I'm just telling the type of the exception, and I'll be catching here in the object. Okay. So if I say isf dot get message, what is going to be printed? Only this one. Only this one. Yes or no? Can you able to distinguish? Object dot get message. Then I'll ask you one more. If I print the object itself, then if I print the object itself, then the toString method of the object is going to be printed. What it is going to print? The name of the class, that is the type of the exception, and also the message. Yes or no? Can you able to understand what exactly this is going to do and what exactly this will do? Right? Understood? Now, can you please tell me, will this statement is going to be printed right now? Yes? Everybody agree with that? Will that statement is going to be printed? Did you agree, everyone? Yes? Okay. Let us execute once. Now what happened? Withdraw amount got printed. Yes or no? And isf.getMessage, only the message is going to be printed, which we have overridden in the getMessage method. And if I print the object, this object, then what happened? The type of the exception and also the message along with that is going to be printed. Yes or no? And finally, as we have dealt our exception in terms of try catch, finally, as you expected, the transaction completed is going to be displayed. Yes or no? Did everybody agree with this output? Yes, understood? Right? Okay. And the last one is this. User defined checked exception. Previously we have seen user defined. What type of exception? Runtime exception, that is unchecked exception. Okay, if I extend from runtime exception, then that would be a unchecked exception, that your user defined exception is of type unchecked. But what I am doing right now, insert funds extends exception. If I am directly extending from the exception, then what type of exception is this? Compile time exception. Very good, Jagdish. Compile time exception. Okay. Okay, yes or no? Right? Now everything is same as we discussed right now. Everything is same. And here also everything is same. Now, what we are doing is, see, Here, as it is the checked exception, I just created a bank object, fine. I just call the withdraw method with 4,000. Okay, the withdraw method got called and the balance would be 1,000 and 4,000 amount is going to be printed. Now, again, withdraw of 2,000 now I'm calling. What happens if I say that 2,000 will give you an exception? Yes or no? So it comes to this part. So as I am throwing new ins of funds exception of type, what I am doing here, I have to deal with that. Here I have to deal within the withdraw. But I am not, this method is not interested to deal that. So what it has to do? It has to do, what is this? What is this? What we can, we are reporting that exception. If I am not handling here, I need to report that exception along with the method signature. Okay. Now, who is responsible to deal with this? Can you please tell me right now? As the withdraw method is throwing some exception of type checked exception, that exception which is thrown from here is going to be the responsible is the method main. Okay. So luckily in main method, we are dealing in terms of try catch. That is, we are handling this. Okay. If I am not handling this, can you please tell me what change I can make? Can you please tell me if I am not handling this? If I am not interested to handle even in the main, again report. Again, I need to say this. I need to say this one. Understood now? Yes or no? Right? Everybody? Understood everybody? Yes or no? Can you please give me your confirmation? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. I'll just execute and I'll tell you one more thing. I'll change a little. Now, is the transaction completed statement will be executed? Yes, obviously, because we just handled the exception so that transaction completed statement also printed. I'll tell you one thing, guys. Here, along with this new exception, I'm just passing one message. That is, along with the object, I'm passing one message. So if I don't want this, then what happened? I need not keep this statement. Did you understand that? I need not keep super of str. I don't have any parameter right now. Yes or no? I'm just calling this default constructor. Is it not default constructor? Guys, clearly understood. I'm telling you, this is related to inheritance. Okay, we have discussed these type of concepts in inheritance. ఇక్కడ నేను ఏం పారామీటర్ పాస్ చేయకపోతే సూపర్ ఆఫ్ ఎస్టీఆర్ అనాల్సిన అవసరం ఉందా? బికాస్ ద డిఫాల్ట్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ అనేది ఆటోమేటిక్ గా కాల్ అవుతుంది. అంటే నాకు ఇది అవసరం లేదు అన్నప్పుడు అసలు ఈ స్టేట్మెంట్ ఈ కంప్లీట్ గా ఈ కన్స్ట్రక్టరే ఐ డోంట్ రిక్వైర్. Yes or no? Understood? I don't require. As I'm having this message, if I pass the message only, then only I need to call the constructor. I need to pass the super of str because it is the parameters constructor. Understood? Everybody? Yes or no? Two things. How will you do, Shravya? How will you do two things? See, you cannot do. Let me check. We will check once again what is there. Okay. Why we are using super of means, Rohit, did you understand one thing that super అనేది దేనికి వాడతాం? Super is a construct for what reason we are using in the inheritance? ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్ లో ఏం చేస్తే ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్ లో ఎందుకు వాడతాం? బేస్ క్లాస్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ ని కోసం. యాక్చువల్ గా బేస్ క్లాస్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ కనుక డిఫాల్ట్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ అయితే, ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ డిఫాల్ట్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్, యూ నీడ్ నాట్ స్పెసిఫై ఇంటెన్షనల్లీ, దట్ ఈస్ ఎక్స్ప్లిసిట్లీ సూపర్ ఆఫ్. బేస్ క్లాస్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ కూడా డిఫాల్ట్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ అయితే యూ నీడ్ నాట్ డూ ఎనీథింగ్, బికాస్ for every constructor, control Z, what I'm doing, see here, okay, this is only getting, no, here previously we have a constructor, no, don't see, now let me open once again, okay, fine. Here we have a constructor previously, no? In the previous example, I'll show you. Just a second. Here we have a constructor, no? See, whenever I'm having any constructor in the default derived class, ఇది derived class ఏ కదమ్మా, in sub funds అనేది. ఆ derived class లో కనుక ఒక constructor ఉంది అంటే, సూపర్ క్లాస్ లో ఉన్న డిఫాల్ట్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ ని కాల్ చేయడానికి ఐ నీడ్ నాట్ యూజ్ దిస్ స్టేట్మెంట్. ఈ స్టేట్మెంట్ ని నేను యూజ్ చేయక్కర్లేదు. ఎందుకు? ఫర్ ఎవ్రీ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ ద వెరీ ఫస్ట్ హిడెన్ స్టేట్మెంట్ ఈస్, ప్రతి కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ లో కూడా హిడెన్ గా ఒక ఫస్ట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ ఒకటి ఉంటుంది. వాట్ ఈస్ దట్? సూపర్. ఓకే, ఎస్, సూపర్ ఆఫ్, జస్ట్ సూపర్ ఆఫ్. దిస్ విల్ కాల్ ఆటోమేటికలీ యువర్ సూపర్ క్లాస్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్, సూపర్ క్లాస్ డిఫాల్ట్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్, సూపర్ క్లాస్ డిఫాల్ట్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్. కానీ నీ సూపర్ క్లాస్ లో కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ కనుక పారామీటరైజ్ ఉందనుకోండి, ఈజ్ దిస్ ఇనఫ్? ఈజ్ దిస్ సూపర్ ఆఫ్ ఈజ్ ఇనఫ్? Is this enough? Yes or no? This is not enough. So that whichever is free gift from the compiler, ilaga manaki super hidden super anedi sarpodu. So what we have to do? We have to pass the parameter whichever I am passing along with the object creation. Ante kada? See, ఏదైతే నేను ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేషన్ తో పాస్ చేస్తున్నానో ఆ పారామీటర్ సూపర్ క్లాస్ లో కనుక పారామీటర్స్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ ఉంటే ఎక్స్ప్లిసిట్లీ యూ హ్యావ్ టు టెల్, అంటిల్ అన్లెస్ యూ స్పెసిఫై సూపర్ ఆఫ్ దట్ మెసేజ్, దట్ సూపర్ క్లాస్ పారామీటర్స్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ విల్ నాట్ బి ఇన్వోక్డ్. అండర్స్టూడ్ నో? ఓకే, సూపర్ క్లాస్ లో కనుక డిఫాల్ట్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ ఉంటే మీరు ఏం చేయక్కర్లేదు, బికాస్ సూపర్ ఆఫ్ అనేది ప్రతి కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ లో ఫస్ట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ గా అవైలబుల్ అవుతుంది. కానీ నీ పేరెంట్ క్లాస్ లో కనుక పారామీటర్స్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ ఉందనుకోండి, ఇది ఒక్కటే సరిపోదు అనమాట, సూపర్ ఆఫ్ అన్నది ఒక్కటే సరిపోదు. సో వాట్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు డూ, ఎక్స్ప్లిసిట్ గా యూ నీడ్ టు మెన్షన్ సూపర్ ఆఫ్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ద పారామీటర్ యూ వాంట్ టు పాస్ టు యువర్ పేరెంట్ క్లాస్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్. అండర్స్టూడ్? ఇక్కడి నుంచే పాస్ చేయాలి మీరు దేనికి? సూపర్ క్లాస్ లో ఉన్న పారామీటర్స్ కన్స్ట్రక్ట్. ఓకే, రైట్ రోహిత్? ఓకే, నౌ ఇక్కడ ఇప్పుడున్న కాంటెక్స్ట్ లో హియర్ ఐ డోంట్ వాంట్ దిస్ మెస్, ఐ డోంట్ వాంట్ దిస్, దెన్ వాట్ ఐ కెన్ డూ, I'll open this. I don't want this. So as I'm not passing anything here, I don't require this statement. If I don't require this statement, I don't require this constructor. Yes or no? Did you understand everybody this logic? అంతే కదా, పారామీటరే పంపించినప్పుడు సూపర్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ పారామీటర్ అని చెప్పాల్సిన అవసరం ఏముంది? ఇది చెప్పినప్పుడు అసలు ఈ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ పని ఏముంది? బికాస్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ లో నేను ఒకటే స్టేట్మెంట్ రాశాను, నాకు ఇంకా వేరే పని ఏం లేదు. ఐ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ ఎనీ వర్క్ అలాంగ్ అదర్ దాన్ దట్. ఓకే, ఎస్ ఆర్ నో? ఓకే, దట్స్ వాట్ ఐఎమ్ టెలింగ్ యూ. సో you just recollect the concept. Okay, so I just removed because I'm not passing anything here. So I just removed the constructor, no problem, no issue. Okay, until unless I pass a parameter. Here, as Shravya asked that if I use both throws and also try catch, we will see that, and we will end up this session. What happens? Will it give you an error or what? Nothing happens. Nothing happens actually. Okay. This bank account too only, no? So it is not giving you any error or any exception. So it just ignores. It just ignores. Okay. Understood? Yes or no, Shravya? That's it. It just ignores the throw statement. Okay. Right. So, hope you understand how user defined exceptions, uh, exactly like runtime exceptions, user defined exceptions, and also user defined exceptions of type compile time exceptions, how we are doing. Did you understand, everybody? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. So with this we have completed our exception handling chapter, that is concept. So part unit 3 part 1 is over, and the multi-threading concept we will start from Saturday. Tomorrow we'll have exam, and from Saturday we will start multi-threading concept. Okay, so don't miss that. Even that is also very important concept. So even don't miss any single class, I'll tell you, because that is a new topic to you, because you never come across with the multi-threading in C or C++ or anything. So I request everybody to be present regularly to the class. And today's tasks are pronic number. You have to do, you have to uh, find out whether the number is pronic number or not. What is pronic number is, see, suppose there is 6. Suppose there is a number 6. What is the multiples of 6? What are the multiples of 6? Multiples of 6. See, wait. 18. 12, 18. Okay, I understand. Sorry, I'll ask in reverse way. What are the factors of 6? Factors of 6. Factors are 1, 2, 3, 6. In among in its factors, leave 1. Okay, leave. You just leave that. Suppose for 6, 2 3s are 6. Okay, 2 3s are 6. And 2 and 3 are the consecutive numbers. Yes or no? If you suppose, if you can tell that 6 is a pronic number, as it is having the factors like 2 and 3, that is n into n plus 1. The form is n into n plus 1. If it is having like that, then we can call 6 as a pronic number. Then I'll tell you, there is a number 9. There is a number 9. Will the 9 is that 9 is a pronic number? 3 3s are 9. It is not. 3 and 3 are not the consecutive numbers. Yes or no? So that you need to find out the consecutive factors of a given number, then it is the pronic number. You need to print yes, otherwise no. Okay, will you do that? Along with this, okay, along with this, you have one more task, that is a pattern, a small pattern. It is quite easy only. If you couldn't understand, I'll tell you how to do that. Okay, right? Guys, will you do that, everybody? Everybody has to do this, because we have still how much time we have? 5 minutes and more, 25 minutes time. So I'll close the task right now itself in the class. I will not keep these 2 tasks for your homework.